The movie begins on a lonely island near Scotland. A man named Mason lives there by himself, with only his dog for company. Every week, a girl named Jessie and her uncle come by boat to bring him food and other supplies. But Mason never meet them. One day, Jessie leaves the supplies at the boathouse and adds a small gift for Mason. After they leave, Mason picks up the supplies, but ignores the gift and leaves it on the floor. Later, he spends the day alone, drinking and playing chess by himself. The next time Jessie came, she breaks the rules and knocks on his door. When he opens it, Mason scolds her while taking the supplies and tries to close the door. She quickly stops it with her foot and offers him the gift again. She asks why he never comes out to greet them, but Mason gives no answer. Instead, he pushes her foot away and shuts the door. But Jessie shouts that she's not scared of him, then sets the gift down outside his door and walks off. While on the boat, Jessie's uncle hears warnings about a big storm coming. Suddenly, the sky turns dark and the waves get rough. Jessie gets into her small boat and begins rowing, but the powerful waves throw her into the water. Her uncle tries to help, but waves sink his boat too. Back on the island, Mason sees that Jessie's boat is sinking, so he rushes into the boathouse. There, he quickly gets into his boat, slides it down the ramp into the water, starts the engine, and speeds away as fast as he can. Jessie comes back up for air, but her legs are tangled in a net and she can't swim. The strong waves push her under again and she passes out. Right then, Mason dives into the sea and frees her from the net. He also thinks to save her uncle, but sadly her uncle was already drowned with his boat. So he pulls Jessie out of the sea and onto his boat, where he performs CPR until she starts breathing again. That evening, Jessie wakes up in Mason's bed. She asks where her uncle is, and Mason sadly tells her that he died. Hearing this, Jessie starts crying, and eventually falls asleep while crying, so Mason sleeps on the couch. Next day, Mason bandages Jessie's swollen ankle. She asks if he called the police and anyone knows she's on the island, but Mason just tells her to rest. When he steps away to get a drink, Jessie gets upset and demands he take her back to the mainland, saying her family will be worried about her. But Mason tells her that her mom is dead and she never met her dad. After Mason goes outside, Jessie quietly gets out of bed and searches his desk until she finds a knife. When she hears him coming back, she quickly returns to the bed and hides the knife. That night, Mason wakes up because Jessie is making noise during a bad dream. He goes to check on her, but when he touches her arm, she suddenly wakes up and points knife at him. Mason calmly says it was only a dream, then shows her the right way to hold and use a knife. Over the next few days, Mason keeps looking after her. He carries her to the bathroom, cooks her food, and treats her wounds. One day, Jessie asks how Mason knows about her family. He tells her that he and her uncle served together in the Royal Marines. Then she watches his chess moves and says she's really good at chess. Mason then checks her ankle and sees it's infected. Still, he won't take her to hospital and says he'll get the medicine himself. After he leaves the island by boat, Jessie looks through his desk and finds a drawing he made of her and the dog. When she opens another drawer, she discovers that Mason did open the gift she had given him. In London, Public Inquiry Committee angrily questions Manafort about secretly using a surveillance program called Thea that can spy on almost every phone and camera in UK to collect and store people's data. After the hearing, he meets with the Prime Minister privately, and she says the scandal has embarrassed the government. Then she turns off the recording devices and offers him a deal. In public, Manafort will be fired so the government can look responsible, and his student Roberta will replace him. But secretly, Manafort will continue running the Thea program. He agrees, and she congratulates him on his retirement. In Scotland, Mason goes to a pharmacy to buy medicine and carefully avoids the security cameras while shopping. When he leaves the store, he accidentally passes behind some girls taking a selfie, and his face gets caught in their photo. Thea detects his face and wrongly marks him a dangerous terrorist. And Roberta, who now secretly runs the program, sends an armed team to hunt him down. Back on the island, Mason bandages Jessie's injured ankle and gives her medicine. He also gives her the clothes he bought. That night during dinner, Mason hears a strange sound. So he checks with binoculars and sees a boat coming toward the island. He tells Jessie to hide quietly in the bathroom until he returns. She quickly grabs a knife, then hides. Mason takes a blade too and heads outside to get ready for whoever is approaching. When the soldiers arrive and move toward the house, Mason cuts a rope that rolls a big rock downhill. It triggers a net that catches one soldier and drags him into the water. Mason then turns on lights that blind the soldiers because they are using night vision goggles. They remove the goggles and start shooting when they see Mason running. One soldier chases him up a hill, but Mason sneaks up behind him and fires a flare gun, setting him on fire. Another soldier reaches the hill, so Mason stabs him with a knife and shoves him into the sea. Meanwhile, a soldier forces his way into the house. The dog attacks him, but after a short fight, the soldier shoots and kills the dog. He then kicks open the bathroom door, quickly takes the knife from Jessie and captures her. After that, he takes her outside. In the boathouse, Mason heard Jessie's screams, so he quickly grabbed a dead soldier's gun and shot the soldier holding her. Then he checked the soldier and notices that the soldier had been recording everything with body camera. Mason then tells Jessie to wait for him. He goes back inside the house and sadly finds that the dog is dead. After that, he picks up his phone and calls a secret contact, telling him that he is coming. When the call ends, Mason removes the phone's battery so it cannot be tracked. Then they take the soldier's boat and escape the island. Later, Roberta finds out her team is defeated, so she sends a special agent named Workman to handle situation and orders her team to find out who the man is. Next day, Mason and Jessie reach Scotland, where they quietly move through the town looking for a car to escape, but they first need to find the keys. So Mason gives Jessie the gun and asks her to watch outside while he sneaks into a house to search for the keys. While searching inside, a young boy spots him. Then suddenly his father appears and aims a gun at Mason. At that moment, Jessie comes up behind the man, and at gunpoint, she forces him to help them. Right then, Madison on Roberta's team reports that the terrorist profile flagged earlier was fake. Thea had been coded to trigger automatically for a specific face. When Madison breaks the code, Mason's real file appears, showing that he was supposedly killed during a mission. Seeing this, Roberta realizes that someone set this trap to make them attack their own people. Just then, computer detects a phone call from a boy who says a man and a girl have taken his father hostage. Hearing this, Roberta instantly sends another team, including Workman she called earlier. At the same time, Manafort secretly monitors everything using Thea program. He looks at the recordings and is shocked to see that Mason is target. When he learns that Roberta is sending Workman, Manafort contacts him. He tells Workman that the mission is a secret black kite operation and that he should only follow his orders. Since Workman is loyal to Manafort, he quickly agrees, and Manafort orders him to kill both Mason and Jessie. Back in the house, Mason asks for the truck keys, and the man tells him the key is by the front door. As they were about to leave, suddenly the police arrive and surround the area because the boys secretly called them. But when the boy's father runs toward the door, Workman shoots him in the head. Mason quickly stops the boy from running outside, so he does not get hurt. Workman then keeps firing his gun, destroying the police cars. Mason and Jessie try to escape through the back door, but they run into a police officer. Mason quickly knocks him out with one punch and takes his gear. After that, Mason and Jessie start running away. The other police officers try to stop them, but Mason defeats them quickly. The last officer does not try to fight back, so Mason simply takes the police car and drives away. Meanwhile, Roberta is watching everything through the cameras and tries to contact Workman. However, Workman chases Mason and Jessie in his car. During the pursuit, he begins shooting at them and hits their police car several times. The chase continues as Workman gets closer and fires again. Mason avoids the bullets and deliberately slows down. As soon as Workman drives in front of them, Mason hits his car from behind, flipping it over, and then drives away. After that, they stop at a construction site so they can switch to another vehicle. Meanwhile, Workman survives the crash and starts walking down the road. Soon, a civilian car and a police car block his path, but Workman quickly shoots the officer in the police car and forces the driver to give him the vehicle. At the office, Roberta calls Manafort and asks if he knows Mason. Manafort explains that many years ago he secretly ran a program called Black Kites, made up of highly skilled agents who carried out secret missions. Mason was one of the first agents and was extremely talented. During one mission, he was ordered to kill a foreign spy, but instead he faked his report and vanished. Because of this, Manafort believes Mason betrayed them and joined the enemy, so he tells Roberta to use every resource she has to stop him. Later, Roberta tells Madison to hack into the secret Black Kite files. She finds out Mason once helped an Iranian scientist escape after the scientist shared all details of Iran's nuclear program. Mason's orders were to kill the scientist, but he refused, kept his word, and let him go. While Roberta reads these files, Manafort secretly watches her through security cameras. Meanwhile, Jesse asks Mason if he has any family. Mason says he doesn't, and explains that he never wanted a wife or children because it would make his life more complicated. Soon they reach the next town and try to avoid the cameras. However, a car's dash camera records their faces, and Manafort quickly learns where they are. He then sends their location to Workman. The two go to a church to meet Mason's old friend, Booth, who drives them to his house. While Jesse looks around the kitchen and notices some unusual medicine, Booth tells Mason that he helped create Thea before quitting his government job. He also explains that after Mason disappeared, he replaced Mason's photo in the system with a random civilian, but Manafort later replaced it with the fake terrorist profile. Mason asks Booth to take care of Jesse while he goes to face the enemy, but Booth refuses. Jesse then interrupts and reveals that Booth has cancer. Thinking Mason wants to leave her behind, Jesse sadly apologizes for causing trouble and walks away. After Booth admits that this is true, Mason asks him for the location of an old trafficker they once knew. Booth warns he's risky, but Mason says he has no choice. Just as they are about to leave, someone knocks on the door. It is Workman, and he suddenly starts shooting. Mason quickly hides behind the furniture. When Workman comes inside, Mason pushes a shelf onto him. They fight hard, using whatever's nearby as weapons. Just as Workman is about to kill him, Jesse points the gun at Workman and begs him to stop. Workman rushes at her to take the gun, but Mason grabs a nail gun and shoots Workman several times with it, then escapes with Jesse. After that, Mason and Jesse reunite with Booth, and the three of them escape in a car. Workman chases them and fires several shots, but they manage to get away. Later, Manafort sends a message to Workman asking if he killed them, and Workman replies no. Because of this, Manafort orders his assistant to prepare another team. When they reach the next town, Booth gives Mason a phone and then leaves. Mason and Jesse continue driving, and Jesse asks if she can go with him. Mason refuses, saying he wants her to have a better life. Soon they reach London and go into a nightclub, where Mason purposely lets cameras spot them. Then he beats up the bouncer until he lets them in. Right then, Madison finds out someone has been secretly using the Thea system. She tells Roberta, who orders an investigation to find and block the user. And when Manafort tries to track Mason and Jesse, he suddenly gets blocked, which reveals to Roberta that Manafort himself was the secret user. Inside the club, Mason and Jesse meet a trafficker. Mason asks him to help Jesse leave the country with a new identity. Trafficker asks why he should help. Mason reminds him that he has been able to run his illegal business because he informed Manafort about his rivals. Now Manafort operates illegally and will kill anyone in his path. Since Mason let cameras catch him, agents are coming to the club soon, leaving Trafficker with no choice but to help them. Sometime later, Trafficker came and gives Mason the documents for Jesse's new identity. He also tells them the boat will leave soon, so they must hurry. When they try to leave, Mason noticed that Manafort's agents have already arrived. So he attacks one of the agents, quickly takes his gun and shoots him. The club's loud music covers the gunshot. The other agents surround Mason and start beating him up. Jesse tries to help by jumping on one, but he knocks her to the floor. To protect her, Mason shoots that man. Finally, the crowd realizes what is happening and starts running in panic. In the chaos, Mason struggles to move through the crowd, and an agent uses the moment to kidnap Jesse. Mason quickly calls Booth, who tracks the kidnapper and guides him with directions. When Mason reaches the van, Manafort's agents surround him, so he takes them down one by one and then rushes to save Jesse. Just then, Workman shows up, so they quickly grab a motorcycle and escape. When they reach the pier, Jesse cries and doesn't want to leave Mason, but he puts her on the boat and she leaves. Suddenly, Mason hears a gunshot and takes cover. The two begin shooting at each other until they both run out of bullets. They then begin a close fight, using a metal pipe and a chain as weapons. Workman manages to grab Mason in a chokehold, but Mason fights back, knocks him down, and hits him several times with the chain. After that, Mason wraps the chain around the pipe and strikes Workman in the head, killing him. Afterward, Manafort is in his mansion looking out the window when he notices that two of his guards are dead outside. When he turns around, Mason is standing there. The two men argue for several minutes about the Black Kites project. In the end, Mason shoots Manafort in the head and kills him. Later in Spain, Jessie is living a new life. Roberta and her team are secretly watching her, believing Mason might come to see her one day. And Jessie is sitting in a cafe when Roberta loses sight of her because someone moves the camera. Then a waitress brings Jessie a bag, and inside she finds a chess piece. At the same time, Mason is standing across the street watching her, but he quietly walks away before she can turn around and see him.